Let's start with the effort to limit weekend voting. That includes souls to the polls, Sunday voting tradition, popular in the Black church. Latasha, what is the significance of that?
You know, the significance is here we are 56 years. This weekend, I'm actually on my way to Selma, Alabama. We're commemorating Bloody Sunday and the Selma to Montgomery March that ultimately led to the Voting Rights Act. And here on the eve of the 56th anniversary, we're dealing with bills that are specifically designed to disenfranchise Black voters. That on Sunday voting, what we do know is that Black voters are 10 times more likely to vote on Sunday voting than other constituency groups. It's a part of the culture in our community. We have programs called Souls to the Polls, where we go as a collective and go to the polls to vote on Sunday. And so this is an effort that is specifically directed at minimizing our vote. That when you think about, democracy, the goal is for it to be expanded so that all citizens can participate. But what we're seeing from the GOP and the Republicans here in Georgia is they're going through extraordinary measures to really be able to restrict the vote and really marginalize and attempt to marginalize the voices of Black voters.
And part of the expansion that we're talking about when we talk about making it easier to vote has to do with absentee voting. A lot of voters, I think, really understood the importance of that in the middle of this pandemic. Georgia Republicans are going after that as well. Back in December, a state audit of signatures on random mail-in ballots in Cobb County found no fraud. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger called the finding a third strike against claims of voter fraud, despite the evidence the Georgia GOP taking aim at non-excuse absentee voting, and say the Republican-led legislature approved this type of voting 16 years ago. Why dismantle it now?
They're dismantling it now because it's working for people besides white conservative voters. That what we know, the big truth, if you will, is that America is changing and we are approaching a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multilingual majority. Georgians and along with the rest of our country sort of lived through a pandemic and voting by mail, absentee balloting was one of the safest ways that people could participate in our elections. Safe in terms of managing their exposure to the virus, but also safe in terms of having a paper trail, because we know that Georgia has a long and a recent history of voter suppression. And so the fact that, 3 recounts sustained the 0.25% margin between President Trump and President Biden, that they were embarrassed, that their attempts to suppress votes had not worked. And I want to offer that while the bill is headed to crossover and that it may not look the way that it looks now, that there is nothing that is redeemable about any of these bills that have been introduced, that any one of them, had they been on the books in November, would have wiped out the margins that we saw, would have suppressed enough votes to wipe out the margins that we saw in November and possibly in January as well. So they're cheating.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.